Do you need a lighter?
Do you need the camera angled down, or is it better if they don't see? I am so full.
But now I have to.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, just
It
do
was
like
fine.
this much.
It was fine.
Like this. This
Hey,
is great.
everybody!
Just some floating heads.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we're live.
I know we're live.
I know, it got quiet.
Yeah, it's
That's
our
like
way.
the telltale sign that
This,
we're live.
this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. Oh, man.
I can imagine so.
I'm going to silence your phone.
Yeah, I'm gonna silence my phone.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Yep.
Who wants to start?
I don't want to start. Because starting means ending, and ending means we're done, so.
Why don't you do the usual start?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I'll say makers, families, and geeks.
Yep.
All right.
What's up, Internet? You're listening to the Making Geeks podcast, a podcast for makers.
Families,
And geeks.
And we are at episode 300.
this is it.
We're the Making Geeks podcast. If for some reason this is your first episode, you've got a big backlog of episodes to catch up on.
Over 300 hours of us talking about everything from family, making stuff, a lot of geeking out, a lot of spoiler casts, a lot of really cool guests
Yep. From various locations.
all around the world. I was looking at the top places today.
Yeah.
Because United States, Canada, Germany, Sweden, Norway, and a bunch of others I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
And we've recorded from multiple places too, not just
yeah we
here
have.
or in individual houses, you know,
Mm-hmm.
multiple sides of the U.S. and multiple times.
Yeah, we have. First live show in Boston.
Yep.
Pre-Donovan.
Yep.
The before times.
The before times.
Twice at Maker Faire. And once here. Well, that was our second time here. Has there been somewhere else too? I don't remember now.
Yeah, I think we did it in Atlanta one time. Didn't we do it in an office or something?
No, you and Josh were in the office. I was still at home.
Right.
You were at
Because Tony showed up. Or
Missing Digit Workshop. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the location with you guys.
yeah, I think we were at
Atlanta Woodworking?
we were at Atlanta Woodworking Show, and it was a metalworker, I believe. It's been so long, I don't remember, but we were in a normal place.
Yeah, it was a big woodworking show that would happen every year that you guys were
Yeah.
going for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were in somebody else's shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Tony zip in, we had Andy Berkey pop in, and just
Yeah.
like a hodgepodge of cameos, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. I'm sitting on my side just getting jealous because you're hanging out at a cool party and I'm just in my office by myself.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, but now we're here in person. We've actually been here in person for a few days.
We have. Working on a cool project. Well, you guys were working on a cool project together for a couple of months
Yeah.
that you guys can finally talk about too.
Yeah, we
can.
can.
Yeah.
We can. The cat's out of the bag.
Why don't you guys talk about it briefly, but then they'll be able to see the full version when you guys do your full video.
Yeah, so our good friend Nicole and Turi from One Geeks Craft, fantastic channel. If you don't already know who they are, go check them out. They do very geeky stuff, hence the name. But they're having their first baby, and as part of the preparations of getting ready for baby, they are putting together a baby room, and they themed the baby room Legend of Zelda, which I could not have been more for, because the work that they have put into that baby room is it's absolutely amazing. They painted a mural on one of the walls of a scene from Breath of the Wild. They have...
Which we got to help with.
Yeah, we got to help with.
Yep.
A baby mobile of Korok seeds and just all kinds of Legend of Zelda stuff. Fantastic. And so Wes and I were talking because we wanted to collaborate on a project together, and we came up with the idea to make something for the baby room. And the idea that we settled on was to make a shrine from Breath of the Wild that would serve as a baby light, but also the ambient noise machine that are found in a lot of baby rooms. And so for the past several months, we've been working together in person twice and remotely the rest of the time, putting together this present that we literally just came downstairs from presenting to her for her baby room, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. So you're glossing over the cool parts of
No,
this.
I know. This is where I wanted, you to talk about all those cool
So
parts.
we had to figure out how to divide and conquer the project, which is a lot of the problem I usually have when trying to come up with something between us, because we have a lot of overlapping skill sets. But we figured out that it was a good idea to we both kind of mashed our heads together, along with some Chat GPT guidance, as an experiment to see how good it was with programming. And we basically programmed a Raspberry Pi with Python to interface with this NFC sensor, so you could basically use Amiibo and set it onto the shrine, and all the internal lights inside of the shrine will change color from orange to blue, as they do in the game, to represent the detection of the Amiibo. And based on what Amiibo you put on there, I have a library of songs and a library of ID numbers for the specific Amiibo that we knew that they owned at their house. And so each specific Amiibo would trigger a specific Legend of Zelda song, nursery song. Some of them were like nice flowing harp music. Other ones were more beat driven, like lo-fi
music,
lo-fi Zelda stuff. In the end, we programmed over 25 Amiibo cards and figurines that we knew that they owned. Plus, I think in the total we had almost 40 tracks. There's a special card that will actually start a randomization. So all the song, I can load probably hundreds of different songs on there, and it'll just pull all from this one folder, and it'll just randomize the order. So there's multiple different kinds of modes. It changes the colors based on it playing or not. There's a mode. It'll detect if, how do I describe it? If you try to do an Amiibo that's not pre-programmed, it will turn red and it'll start laughing at you with the Skull Kid laugh, right?
From Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask. So we try to attack it from all these different programmatic standpoints and stuff, and just to kind of get almost like a finished product that you might find in a store. I think we got pretty close to it. We
so what we did is we 3D printed it's about 6 inches tall, 7 inches tall.
Yep.
And
in PETG clear.
In clear.
It looked really cool.
Painted over it and left the spots that light up clear. And we went back and forth with different ideas on what to do for the base. We were thinking maybe carve it out of wood, maybe do like a nice walnut, maybe make it look kind of fancy. But we ended up just using foam, and then covering the foam with glue and paint, and then doing, what is it called? Static grass?
Yeah, static grass flocking. Yeah.
Static grass to make it look like, a grassy knoll like you might find in Breath of the Wild, which contrasted really well against the paint of the model itself. And assembled everything on the inside, burned our fingers, and just, man, we've been having a blast.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's been a process, because it's like from the time that we started working on this and coming up with the models and using ChatGPT to run the code, it was always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We'd get something to work and we'd high five, but then it'd break and we'd have to go back and figure out how to get it to work. And it's been months of this, and it's been so exciting.
And right when we printed the first model, and it took like 18 hours to print, and it was slightly too small to house all of the electronics that we had to shove in there. So I'm like, it's fine. We'll just print a second one. This is a great printer, the Prusa Mark II, i3 Mark II. And
it's never failed me.
It's never failed us. We start printing it, and the thing goes haywire and breaks catastrophically. We had to rebuild the hot end twice. So over multiple printer attempts, I had to use my other printer. This long story short, it took a lot of back and forth with different printer manufacturers getting the right parts, the wrong parts. Eventually, I mailed him the final piece, and he painted it mostly at home, brought it here. So it's traveled across multiple time zones. It's got a good story, and we
Carried it with me on the plane because I'm like, there's no way that
Yeah,
I'm
check
gonna
that.
risk this getting broken, all this work going into it, and then nope. So it was with me on the plane, and yeah, I have had the biggest goofy grin on my face all day today in anticipation of us finishing this project and giving it to her, and it was worth it.
yeah, she seemed to like it.
Yeah,
She had a good reaction.
yeah.
And I won't fully describe it with our vocabulistic verisimilitude. Is that the right? That's not the right word.
We'll say it is. We'll say it is.
Yes. You'll have to watch the video.
Yeah, but we're both putting together a project video for this, and it'll be exciting to show this to the world, all the work that we've done.
You can build a really geeky credit card skimmer now.
Ooh, that's true. Alexa might be listening, so that's probably not a good thing to say.
We were joking. We were joking.
Yes. But yeah, I'm excited to put the videos together. It's gonna be great.
And we learned that we can work together. Now that we're not going to work together anymore, we learned that we can work together. Isn't that great?
I really had no part in this project at all, but at one point I was actually helping to hold something while Wes was doing some work. And it was the first time we've ever been or actually had our hands on the same project at one time. So I'm going to count that.
Yeah.
Even though I
It's
did
there.
it, yeah.
I mean, I
But
can't.
we got like one picture to show
Yeah.
it too. So
Yeah. We have photographic evidence that we all have been working on the same project together. All these years of doing this podcast and every week coming here and talking about the different things that we're working on independently, it took all that time to come to the end to finally work on something together.
just need an extra pair of hands.
That's right.
Yeah.
We like to put our best foot forward. For sure.
1.5 from me.
And then this weekend is not a typical weekend with just us here in town.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm usually in town, but you guys visiting. We opened up. I opened up my home to patrons that are in our Discord server and not in our Discord server. If you had the capability and interest to fly down, I'll make room for you in the house. Even if it means like pitching a tent, which I luckily didn't have to do, but there were 2 people staying in the camper currently. We had people fly in from Canada and various parts of the United States, and it's been great to have them. They've been various arrival times. Their arrivals and departures are a little bit scattershot as far as like
Tomorrow's going to be interesting.
balancing all of the
Yeah.
the comings and goings of everybody. But yeah, we had a great several days where all of us were here, and we hooked up the Wii U and played Mario Land, and some of the people for the first time, and it's almost like bittersweet in a way. In the way, it's almost like the podcast, because it's like an underappreciated system that it's you know,
It is true.
it had its moment in the sun.
That was
and,
ahead of its time.
yeah, ahead of its time.
There's
Exactly.
something that's really getting glossed over though too. It wasn't just you guys working on this project, but when you invite a bunch of makers over, makers don't typically just sit still.
That's true.
So while Donovan and Wes work on this project, there were being wires run overhead, things being nailed into the ceiling, drilling through the side of your house. I mean,
Yeah, my wife mentioned that. She said it, and not as a well intentioned statement, but she said basically she alluded to the fact that I didn't get some honeydew
I think
projects done.
subconscious was there because that happened last time we were here too with Josh.
Yes, yeah, I agree. That's true. We have a pergola in the back on our new deck, and it's been on the list for a while to hang up a ceiling fan, outdoor ceiling fan. And a couple of the guys were like, their ears perked up, like, oh, project? And so they went to work planning and other things, and they're like, so yeah, like you said, running electrical cable over the top of us while we're scrambling to get this project.
And the panel's still unscrewed, sitting right there.
That's true. Well, so we're hot gluing a shrine. They're like running electrical cable over the top, and there's people entertaining my kids at the same time. It was pretty hilarious. But when you have you put a lot of maker brains together, nothing can really stop them. So
Yeah.
And then today, like we all got together and went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Is that the first time
And-
we've seen a movie together, right?
I think
So-
All of us together.
a movie.
Yeah.
A
besides-
movie.
yeah, movie.
Yeah. There wasn't like an entire series of a show in one day.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that was so much fun. Gosh.
So watching Guardian 3 was actually almost a surreal experience watching with you guys, given
Yeah.
It
what we're
was.
doing today.
It was perfect. Yeah. It's the finale, in a way, of a series.
And
you know,
we're not going to spoil
culmination.
it, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, needless to say, it couldn't have been more fitting of a movie to watch together, being here together, celebrating the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
We all kind of walked out of the movie. We enjoyed the movie. I liked the movie.
I thought it was great.
It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It was really good, but it had that tinge of like, I don't
Underneath
know,
things.
familiarity to everything that we just watched, considering everything that we were going to do for the rest of the day, and then come down here and sit here, right now together, and end it.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for listening.
There's something I was going to say too. I've been trying to think about what it was, but there's something else I was going to interject, and I can't remember what it is at the moment. So,
No, it's funny. I've been kind of thinking about like how this all started, because I was going back through my Instagram DMs and everything, trying to figure out it's like where did this process begin? Like where did this trail start? And so it's like I started my YouTube channel in January of 2017, and uploaded my first video in April, and then my second video in May. And while I was starting to dip my foot into the YouTube sphere and get on Instagram and start learning about maker community, what makers are, and like all this kind of stuff, I'm like, well, maybe there's geek makers. And so started looking around and following all of these, makers in the space who are kind of geeky. And Wes was working on a sword from World of Warcraft, and I commented on his project, and he commented back. And then I released a Star Wars video, and he sent me in June, at the beginning of June 2017, sent me a message and said, "Hey, I just saw that you want to do a sticker swap. Let's trade. Also, are you part of the I Like to Make Stuff group on Facebook? Also, last question, would you like to come on the Making Geeks podcast?" So June of 2017, I learned about this thing called the Making Geeks podcast, and started listening as a listener every week, joining up for the lives, having my headphones in, working in my shop, listening to these four guys talking about being a maker and a dad and a geek, and it just kind of flowed on from there.
yep, definitely.
Yeah.
It was weird the way it started. And we told the story before, but at one point there was, I want to say 10 to 12 people that were all interested in doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And somehow it got whittled down to the starting 4. And then evolved into this. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's definitely had more than one life.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's a life that I wouldn't have traded for anything. Like all the people that we met along the way,
Mhm.
and experiences. Not traveling and live shows and stuff. Like people in the audience that we interacted with, like at Maker Faire several times. Like I remember looking out. We were doing a Maker Faire talk, and I see a guy that I'd often, watched a lot of his videos. Never had much interaction with him besides comments here and there. And it was Wesley Treat in the audience,
Mhm.
and it like almost like derailed whatever the heck we were talking about. For at least for me, I completely like lost focus on what we were talking about, and just seeing him in the audience, it was just kind of
I've had moments
pretty
like
awesome,
that too.
yeah.
I was like, "What? You guys know who we are?" And it's really weird. As bad of a rap as social media and all the online stuff gets, none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for those systems in place already. So, there's a lot
Right.
of good that could come out of it.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing about like starting to learn about the community, and Wes getting me involved with, because Wes knows everybody. And so when I started on this, and he's like, "Oh, you need to follow this person, and do you know this person, and get you a part of this group. So if you have questions about anything, you can ask." And it was amazing that like over the years, just going through this whole process of setting up these relationships with people, and then finally having those moments where you meet them in person and being like, "Wow, I didn't realize I was such good friends with people that I've never met before." And it's been that way from the beginning up until 2 days ago when we come here to Wes's house and like meet some of our patrons in person for the first time.
It is a really weird experience. So we've been doing this for years now. I think almost 7 years. I think June might be 7 years.
Yeah.
And most of the time we're talking to each other through cameras. We have a live chat going. We've only had that for maybe 2 years.
Right.
So we know there's people actively listening during our show sometimes, but there's not a whole lot of other interaction outside of that. So when we get together like this, even like we were last time, and even last night with our get together, and people go, "Oh yeah, didn't you do this? Didn't you talk about this? Like things we talk about in our personal lives?" And I forget, like people are actually listening.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a weird experience. Like, and Nicole even asked me like, "Oh, did you start doing jiu-jitsu yet?" I'm like, "How do you know about?" Because I talked about it on the show. It's really weird sometimes knowing that there's been so many people out there listening over the years. And it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And a little bit weird sometimes.
Because you forgot what you said and be like,
Right.
Well, not just that, but you forget that there are a lot of live people out there that actually hear the show. In fact, I was looking at the stats. I think 300,000 times downloaded, which for a couple of people talking from their shops or offices is a lot.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's more than enough to fill a stadium.
That is a lot of time of people just listening to us talk about stuff.
Yeah, speaking of filling a stadium, leading up to this 300th episode, even far back as 200, we were like contemplating the possibility of doing some sort of event at a location to kind of commemorate, celebrate, congregate, around that idea of just getting folks together. We kept going back and forth as far as what to do, where to have it, and I think having it here at the house with not many other external distractions sort of distilled it down into like the essence of like what I like the most about the maker community. It is literally that. It's the community. It doesn't matter where it is. It could have been in LA or whatever. It could have been in like a Walmart greeters convention, like I always say. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just the essence of what's the best part about it is what we experience here this weekend, which is just connecting with people and just hanging out, having a good time. And nothing was as fitting to me for a 300th episode, celebration, as doing that versus anything extravagant.
Once we kind of settled on that, it just kind of seemed right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honestly, like last night at like 12:30, when you've got a bunch of grown guys sitting playing Wii, screaming and laughing and freaking giggling because we're having so much fun together. it was like I couldn't, my face hurt because I couldn't stop smiling because I'm like, it's been amazing. It's been amazing being here and celebrating what this is. Three of us sitting here talking.
I
and
remember
everything that's come from it.
I remember fairly early on, not just with the development of the podcast, but being part of the maker movement or group of DIYers. That I remember it got settled like, how do adult males make friends? I mean, how do you go in and make new friends? And this ended up being the way. It was really kind of interesting of finding so many people who weren't even local to me, but online that had similar interests. And Donovan, you said it before about being friends with people like you had never even met in person. It just kind of worked out that way. Like it feels like we've known them for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, most people here I've only known by name. I've never met them in person. But it doesn't seem to matter.
Right.
All the common interests.
Yeah. Like you were saying, it's great because we essentially took the lobby at a convention and
Basically, yeah.
brought it home.
The best parts of the convention, exactly.
Yep.
We bottled it and shipped it to North Carolina and poured it over some pancakes.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Gosh. Yeah. And if you've been keeping up with us on social media, you'll get the joke and the reference because it's tradition. It's a tradition now that has to be continued in some form or another.
Yeah, you guys all kept talking about WestCon. I think this is the first annual WestCon, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
Yeah. One door closes, another door opens.
That's right.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Did you say one dork closes, one door?
Yeah. No better fitting a saying than that one, I guess. Yeah.
So you want to bring in
Yeah,
Some of their.
let's do it.
Yeah. So this is an unscheduled, unscripted part of our podcast that
We don't really know what's going on here.
that we've never done before of bringing in other people that are literally right here with us.
Yeah, I have a special guest.
Should grab another chirp from somewhere.
Yep.
We're gonna edit this part out of the episode, right?
You know, we can say that we're going to edit it, but realistically,
When I say
whenever-
we're gonna
I'm
edit
just
it,
gonna leave it in like I usually do.
yeah. Sean's gonna edit this part out, right? Right, Sean?
Of course I am.
First,
Good day.
first up, we have
Scott? Oh, sorry. There we go. Hi, I'm Scott.
what's up, Scott?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having us here. All three hosting.
Absolutely,
Mr.
man.
West.
Yeah.
Great. It was a great week when I'm with my people.
Yeah, about 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, Scott was up on a ladder in here, and he was one of the ones kneeling, and the wires up there.
Holding the hammer. Don't drop it. Don't drop it over the speakers. And the
Over the glow forge.
Glow
Oh, here's the
forge,
glow
yeah.
forge.
No, over the project.
Oh, the project.
Yeah, the bread.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a great weekend. Great weekend.
So, like, I just talked about how I discovered the Making Geeks podcast, being, originally an outsider. How did you discover the Making Geeks podcast?
Yeah, it was actually the name that helped because I'd been looking for 3D printing podcasts, and so I'd search it there, and I thought, okay, well, let's see, I'm a geek. Okay, so let's search that. I love making and geeks. Making Geeks well, that's just I can't have to.
we should have trademarked the names like 7 years ago.
Oh, man.
It was perfect. Okay, done. Yeah, it was like 3 years ago, I think, is when I joined, and yeah, it's been great. And then I'm going back. I've been going back and slowly listening from the beginning as well, just so I get the full effect.
And since you've been here, you've experienced full North Carolinian hospitality,
Indeed.
starting even at the airport.
Well, no. You need
Quite
to
yes.
preface this with you're from Canada.
I am.
Yes.
You
Yep.
flew all the way from Toronto out to North Carolina to
Yes.
come hang out with us.
Yes. The no shortage of hospitality. I got to the airport, got my car, was not a fan of it. Said, "What else you got?" They said, "How about a Challenger?" Okay. Sure, Challenger, why not? So yes, I got to drive a Challenger as well. Yes. Yeah, we've had pancakes, we've had donuts, we've had
Barbecue.
Yes, oh, damn fine barbecue right here. We've done Mexican, which I'm afraid as Canadians we don't get that a lot. So this is a novelty for us. So thank you. And we've had fried green tomatoes, also something we don't normally see. So yes,
With
and I brought maple syrup. I brought maple syrup and the coffee crisp and the Milky
Hickory
Way
sticks.
hickory sticks. Oh yes, yep. Yeah, you gotta bring in the Canadian exclusives.
Sharing of cultures, clashing of cultures.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm glad to have you up.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
absolutely.
All
It's
right.
great to meet you in person.
You
We'll have to
too.
do this again.
Scott.
You got it. Definitely.
Who's up next?
Send in the next victim.
Yeah, we'll do.
Donovan, you should be on camera.
Is there a shop stool? You need a Tetris shop stool.
Yes.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, we're not ignoring the chat.
Yeah, we're not ignoring the chat.
We see everything going on.
But is there a slip and slide? There is not a slip and slide. WestCon, yes. WestCon. This is WestCon Alpha.
There's no slip and slide on purpose.
Improvements will be
Our slip and slide is lubricated by maple syrup, I guess. I
That
don't know.
small little hill in the backyard,
That's right.
down to the fire pit.
Slide on up, sir. So, you, Mr.
I'm gonna shine the hot light on you.
Yeah.
So this fine gentleman we have here is Making Geeks royalty
Yeah.
as far as name shout outs. You might have the most, I think, for the top patron for the longest time.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Mr.
Seth Williams.
Live in person.
That's right.
Well, we actually have a pretty cool history with you, Seth. I know. We'll get a little bit more cozy here. And it started in Boston. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, that was.
I don't. Fill me in. What happened?
We plan to.
Well, you guys had the live podcast back when making it, making it 100.
Yep.
So what there was, you guys making it,
Dusty Life.
Dusty Life.
Rest in peace.
Reclaimed Audio.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
Was there one more? Was it, or is it just
I think
four?
it was 3 or 4. It was Dusty Life, Reclaimed Audio,
Yeah.
Making It Us. I think that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
As far
I
as
think-
podcasts, yeah.
Yeah.
They also had
Ben Ueda
Benueta
did
speak
talk,
as
too,
well.
so,
Oh yeah, that's right. I still have this PowerPoint.
Yeah. So yeah, what? It was December, very cold December.
It was
Well,
really
not up.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember that. So we had the live podcast at the Converse World headquarters, and we were at a bar after as kind of our end of whatever party
Yep.
type thing, and that's when we first met you. And you
Right.
said that you ended up going there because you had found us first.
Right. Yeah.
That was like our first real ego boost. By the way.
Yeah. And I don't.
Our groupies already.
To be honest, I don't even remember how I found you guys. Whether because I wasn't even a part of any of the Facebook groups at that point either. So yeah, I must have been heard making it, and then they mentioned you guys too, or something like that. It's got to be.
It's
That's
so
the
long
only
ago
thing I
we
can think
can't
of,
remember
yeah.
it. That's
I
a
know,
good sign
that's-
of long,
That's how long we've been doing
a
this.
nice long podcast.
Yeah, and it was just by luck that I ended up going because I had a roommate that from college that lived out there, and I knew from Instagram that he was starting to, I don't know, carve and make his own pens. And I'm like, hey, do you listen to any of the podcasts? And he's like, yeah. And then found out he listened to making it, and he was thinking of going. So I bummed a floor to stay at and went out there. So
I'll find the picture because we have that one picture that we took that night with you.
Mm.
I'll repost that.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to see.
Yeah, when I think of Boston, not only do I think of cold drafts walking across this windy bridge over a river, I also remember having an Airbnb
Oh my God.
with how many people stayed in the Airbnb?
There was at
3
least-
bedrooms at like 9 or 10 people.
I thought there was more, but it might seem like more because some of us are pretty big.
That's true.
I mean, it was full of grown, bearded men, and it was. I'm surprised we didn't get like complaints from the neighbors at night with all the snoring that was going on. It was quite a sight.
And everybody had a bed except Corey. You recall? So
Was he
Corey,
sleeping on the ground?
he would eventually. I think he ended up on the ground. So everybody had basically we had like a queen. I forget the entire layout, but there were 3 bedrooms with queen beds in them, and everybody
Sounds
was like
right.
willing to, share a bed with a
Yep.
complete stranger. That you met on the internet. What could possibly go wrong?
Yep.
And people were filing in, into their assigned bedrooms or whatever. I think I slept on the couch, I believe, or I was out on near the kitchen because you put the pancake guy near the kitchen, I guess. And then Corey didn't have. There was no room left in the bedrooms, so Corey.
So we thought. I
Yes.
know.
Yes, punchline first. And he
Nightmare
sleeps
story.
freezing out in the near the kitchen, like in front of like a freezer or something. And we all wake up. Everybody's like groggy from like half the night's sleep that they had, withstanding the onslaught of all the audio snoring and rumblings
Yes.
and whatnot.
And
And
the lions.
yeah, one door opens and only one person comes out of there.
Yep. Mr. Andrew Setters.
Andrew Setters, and he was like, it looked like he had the best sleep of his entire life.
I think he arranged it with his agents and we didn't know about it.
Yeah, and somehow he managed to get the entire bed to himself. Shut the door, didn't manage to mention it.
We
What
didn't
a
bother to
coincidence.
check either.
I mean, he was just so tired
Yes.
with his deep voice meant for television and radio. But yeah, he's like, oh man, you guys sleep as well as I did, and it was just
The one visual I have is
Yeah.
is you guys pulling Corey on the bed like a little kid out of the kitchen into the living room so he can start working in the kitchen. It's like giving him a ride.
I just remember getting there and looking around all the seating because it was just like the rows of stacked chairs that were set out. I'm like look around. I'm like, all right, I know that guy. Just being nervous to go up to it. But now you guys had given a code word for anyone coming. Do you guys remember what it was?
Something like ducks.
Squirrel ninjas.
No, Squirrel Ninjas.
Oh, the squirrel ninjas.
So,
Okay.
I think
The
it-
duck was the other thing.
Yeah.
Front of the seat.
That's right.
So I think I went up to talk to Josh first, and he's like, "Squirrel." Oh, it took him a second. So that was good.
I remember our live podcast at Maker Faire. We went on right after Mark Rober, didn't we?
No, it wasn't
No.
after Mark Rober. It was.
Same stage, but
It was. He was on the stage behind us, right?
I thought he was the same stage.
Was it the same
Different- I
stage?
think it was a different. I
Oh,
don't remember.
okay.
It's
Well,
been
that's,
so long ago, I don't remember.
well, then
That's-
I've been telling people the
Okay.
story different. I'm going to go with my story.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Okay,
Mark
but
Rober
Devin's
and
outside.
President Obama. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 people in the audience. We come on, there's like 30. That was a good show, though.
Yeah, that was still so cool. Because that was I think that was like the first time we had all been in the same place at the same time, right?
Yeah, us
Yeah.
three. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I had never seen you in person before that. I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, flew out to San Francisco and all went to Bay Area Maker Faire to talk at Bay Area Maker Faire, which is kind of weird to say. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. We've outlasted a lot of things.
We have. We have.
It was nice to finally meet Donovan in person. Didn't realize he's 6'7". No.
That's why I changed all the light bulbs here.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's been great. It has. And I finally get to associate a face with, the fidget spinner that I play with every time I'm in Witch's shop. Because he's got a fidget spinner.
He does.
He does.
Yep.
In your shop.
I
That
mean,
I'm
he,
always
might,
playing.
he almost have another one. He didn't make it.
Oh, I didn't make it.
Oh, you didn't make it.
No.
I'm just,
your-
I'm just
no.
repping Tony's
That's
gear.
Tony.
Yeah, this
Oh.
is Tony Rouleau's gear.
I mean, he
Okay,
probably
we're
also has
voting
one.
Donovan out now because that's
Well,
Oh, like I'm just sitting here looking.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dude.
Oh, I wish I could take credit for that. I would.
impersonating Tony.
Jeez, yeah. No.
well,
Well,
he
that
rescinds
was
all those
Free
compliments.
advertisement. Here you go, Tony.
All those compliments about the spinner, he takes back.
Yes.
Now that I've embarrassed myself, thank you very much.
At least one last time for the podcast
Yeah.
That's right. Send all the complaints to Donovan.
at MakeingEast.com.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Well, Seth, hope you had fun this weekend,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
it was great to see you again.
Yeah, I'm glad I could make it.
Yeah,
So.
We get into the next victim.
absolutely.
Alrighty.
Let's see something.
I know. He's like.
You know, Tony.
No,
You know
I know.
Tony, yeah.
Yes, I do. I don't know why my brain was like.
Have you met Tony?
Boop, boop, boop. I don't think so. I don't think I have.
So Donovan has to get up, and I have to get up probably at like 3 a.m. or something tomorrow to take him to the airport. So he is seeing the effects, like not posthumously, but premulously. I don't know. Beforehand,
Chili?
he's You're acting tired, even though you don't have to.
Preemptively.
Preemptively. There, thank you.
Well, we didn't sleep last night.
Yeah, we also didn't sleep. We were just talking about
You
being
better
up
explain why.
because we were up playing Nintendo Land together and giggling in the basement
As a bunch of grown men
Wes's
do.
house. As grown men do. Is this how like non-geeks bond over like I don't know fishing or cars? Like, is it the same?
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine it would
Minus
be the
alcohol.
same.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
cool.
All right, that's the show.
Next,
Yeah.
next victim we have up is Brian Prusa.
Hi. I'm Brian. What am I supposed to say?
Speak louder.
Speak louder. I can do that.
There you go.
We've heard it.
So what brings you? How did you find yourself here?
You invited me. I don't remember. I think you said you should come, and I said okay.
Out of
that's
morbid
it.
curiosity, like,
Well, send the next person in.
yeah.
Okay. See
No,
ya.
like, how did you find the Making Geeks
You find out
podcast?
about the podcast.
Yeah.
Through Wes, I guess, or maybe Josh.
Pro-
I knew Josh through I like to make stuff. Patreon group.
Yeah. Did we meet before that? At a woodworking the
That
woodworking
might have been
conference
the
in
same- around the
Cincinnati?
same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So back in the day, woodworking in America, rest in peace, I believe.
Oh, that's right. That was the name of
They
the
used
show.
to have
Yeah.
conferences that they would rotate between different cities, and they were in North Carolina at one point. That was the first one I went to in Winston Salem. First time I interacted with Bob and any other makers. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Izzy was there. Tons of different makers. Matt Cremona,
Steve Ramsey was there.
Steve Ramsey. He hosted it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching the live stream. Yeah, that major case of FOMO.
Yes.
Yep.
And then the second one, I believe, was in Cincinnati, or it could have been the Missouri one. There was two more after that, and I get them transposed. I can't remember which one was next.
Yeah, I think the next one was Missouri, but
Missouri,
not
Kansas
necessarily
City.
the second one. That
Kansas
might have been
City,
like
and
the
then
second one to
Cincinnati.
your knowledge. I think they had been doing it for many years.
They had been, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
but they stopped soon after that.
Very soon after that, which was sad,
Yeah.
but understandable. It was Popular Woodworking was put it on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of fell to the wayside.
Rest in peace.
Hashtag magazine life.
So yeah, we bonded early on Zelda stuff because I remember you. I think you had a Zelda hat on at one of the event or something, or
It's
maybe I did.
possible.
We had
I think you
matching
did,
hats
too.
or something.
It's like a secret geek handshake.
It is, yeah. Yep.
It's like a Zelda.
Triforce.
Zelda.
I know, right?
I didn't even
Brings
know.
people together.
I didn't even know who you were. We had been talking beforehand, but I hadn't recognized you in person. And I said, "You need your little logo floating above your head," because I would have recognized you then.
That's true.
I was like, "Oh, I like your hat."
Right.
And you're like,
It's funny how that happens.
"I'm
though.
Wes." I'm like, "You're Wes?" Oh, hi, I'm Brian. You're like, "Oh, hi,
So you
nice
hold,
to meet you."
Like even today, you were holding up or last night you were holding up your tumbler. This is who I am.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay, I recognize the logo.
Because Nicole, I've talked to Nicole from when Geeks Craft for years. Before they even moved here. When they moved here a couple of years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I thought it would just be easier. Because that's how you recognize me.
This is me. Yeah,
my
the
logo.
logo.
That's
Your
who I am
avatar.
online.
How everybody sees you online.
The
through your
shop
avatar.
Shop stickers.
Shop
Yep.
stickers.
Yeah, shop stickers.
Yep.
And I believe I 3D printed a Batman logo for your
For my truck.
Does it still exist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
People
one of
love
the
it.
first things I printed, like when I first got my printer.
Yeah, it's amazing. People question me in parking lots sometimes. Like, they'd be like, "Is that original? Like, where'd you get that?" Tell my buddy
There's
printed
options
it
at the
for me.
dealership.
Wayne, Bruce Wayne.
Yes. And then I had you do a few things for me too. You printed me a thwomp right after you
Yeah.
did that.
Yep.
It sits in my shop, on a shelf. I love it.
You've been around longer than I have.
My wife refers to you as thwomp guy sometimes.
Swamp guy.
Yeah.
Could
I
be
accept
worse.
that. Yeah, it
could
could
be
be worse.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're Zelda guy.
I'm Zelda guy.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, because like you and me bonded over Zelda, and then I gave you a Zelda painting, and that it just
see it
it
every day. Well-
solidified us for.
Not when I'm out of town, but I see it every day.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in my living room.
I was so embarrassed by that painting,
I love it.
and you seemed so like giddy when I gave it to you. I'm like, oh, it makes me so happy that he likes this thing that I thought was so terrible.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like Paul Granger remembers that night too, with all the snoring.
Absolutely. How can you forget?
Yeah, how you doing, Paul? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Then we have Broken Antler Workshop chiming in. Brian, he gives the best hugs of any maker.
It's possible.
I concur.
Well, I want to thank you for spearheading the Operation Install a Ceiling Fan.
I don't think you gave him his choice though.
I mean, he jumped. His
I
ears
know.
perked up. He was probably falling asleep out there while we were like,
You're sitting still too long.
while my wife, for some reason, going through like photo albums and scrapbooks for various events that I had no choice in the matter regarding.
Yeah.
And then she mentions that we needed something installed, and Brian like
Within 2
perks
minutes,
up.
you had a tape
He
measure
pulled a
out there.
tape measure from somewhere, and yeah, who knows? But
Yeah, it disappeared.
he's been crawling around in the rafters, wiring stuff up. I mean, it's just pretty crazy. Thank you, man, for doing that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
That'd be awesome.
I can't wait.
No more extension cords.
No more extension cords. Yeah,
You'll have ambient light and a ceiling fan.
that's true.
We're leaving your house better than we found it, and that's
That's the plan.
yeah.
That's
how you
awesome.
get, that's how you get invited back.
That's right. So there's a plan for another house on the next part of our property. If you guys want to help build it next year, huh? No, thanks, man.
I'm down.
It'll be the new Airbnb.
That's right.
Yep.
Thanks,
you buy
buddy.
the trusses, I'll come install
All right.
them. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Send in the next victim. Thanks, sir.
The next victim.
I
Next
think
victim.
that's everybody,
Is
right?
that it?
Yeah.
You sure?
I think
You
so.
want to bring in your kids?
Oh, yeah.
You want me to bring Catherine? That's okay.
I don't know what she might say. You-
You know, that was
Wait,
okay. So
we had a-
now that we're at the end of this, something that we never did, we never did our wives.
She's coming.
We never had our wives do a podcast.
well,
Well,
that's
not-
not,
not
quite
your
true.
wife.
Okay, with my wife, we never had my wife do a podcast with your wives, which I brought that up. I brought that up once, and Sean was like, "Yeah, because I like being like run over by a steam train or something like that." It was fantastic.
We were just talking about that, and I said, I guess we didn't do a good job because we didn't get invited back. But they said that we were like the best episode.
Hi.
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 Your episode
We also
was
didn't do a
fantastic.
kid episode. My daughter wanted to do a kid episode, like talking to your kids and all talking together on the podcast, like their own podcast. She's like, I want to do it. I'm like, we're not doing the podcast anymore. I'm so sorry. But it would have been fun.
Day late and a dollar short.
I know, right?
Sorry.
So how did you find the Making Geeks podcast?
So for those of you just joining us,
Oh, it's
my wife just joined, who's been mentioned many times and had her own episode along with.
You go back and look at it. It's Ladies' Night, as appropriately named.
Early on.
Early on.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a long time ago.
So go back to your question.
what was my question? How did you find the Making Geeks podcast, or the one after that?
That one.
How did I find it? Like on my podcast player?
Yeah. How did you discover it?
You told me that you were doing a podcast?
No,
No?
I'm a train wreck this evening, apparently, so you don't have to listen to me. I'm just here as background noise. It's been great.
We want to thank you for having us because
Yeah.
it's got to be a little bit weird having a bunch of grown men running around the house like this.
Whatever.
You've told me that before, I know.
It's a typical Saturday.
Sounds of
Pretty
giggling
much.
floating up the stairs at 12:30 at night.
No. We love having everybody here. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Glad you guys have had fun with this.
There has been rumblings and stirrings of something that we've dubbed WestCon. And this is our officially unofficial first iteration of WestCon. This is WestCon
We were talking
Alpha.
about how we probably had room for more.
Yeah.
So,
We probably could have doubled the capacity easily. Yeah.
yeah.
Pitch some tents in the backyard and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a time.
Yeah.
We saved one bed for David, who he didn't say it was going to come, but it was a chance. It was a slight chance. And Brent and so many other people that are in the audience. We had the contingency available for you guys to show up. I even bought an extra ticket for Guardians finale tonight that we went to go see. I had an extra movie ticket in case there's one other person who's like, hey, I just got into town. So
There's an empty seat next to me, so like in spirit there would have.
that's
Yeah,
right.
should've been
It's
somebody
for all
there.
of you. All you guys are sitting beside
Yep.
us.
The vicarious maker
That's right.
with us all the time.
Paul Granger says, Making Geeks episode 301, Wives Return.
That was a fun one.
It was.
Mhm.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to it because I know there was a lot said that night.
And when you introduce alcohol into the equation, then who knows
Yeah, we had wine.
where it goes. You did have wine, yeah.
Yeah, I think my
You
wife
guys never
too.
did that. You're no fun.
I'm sorry.
Well,
No, I'm not sorry.
I just
but-
kept it off camera.
Look, someone's saying hello to you in the chat.
Hi.
Oh, my wife is in the chat. Uh-oh.
Hi, Alejandra.
Troubles are brewing.
Oh no.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us come back.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me
Yeah.
come back.
Come back anytime. You don't have to have a podcast.
Well, we should make this a thing.
You should. I mean, we can travel too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I can't promise as nice a weather in Oklahoma as there has been in here in North Carolina. It's been beautiful and perfect and amazing, and it makes me hate that I like it so much here, because I'm like, oh, it's amazing outside. Oh, it's beautiful outside. Oh, the people are friendly. Oh, the houses are super expensive. Never mind. Okay.
And you always have a place to visit on the West Coast too, whenever you're in the area.
Yes, we still want to take the kids to Disney sometime, so make it
Definitely.
out that way. We need
We're
to.
only about 30, 40 minutes away.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
And only a little bit further away from Universal and Knott's and everywhere else.
Yeah, we need to do that. We're gonna make a list of all the trips that we need to take with the kids.
Write it down, highlight it, and keep it in the bedside table.
So Making Geeks Reunion Roadshow? Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe.
You're not hearing objections.
Yeah, no one said no. I mean, so you're saying there's a
I
chance.
think we'll just rename it.
I think we might have to at this time. At this point, yeah.
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 What if we relocated and opened a studio in Georgia called the Macon Geeks podcast?
Macon?
Macon,
Macon.
M-A-C-O-N. Does that work?
Is
Macon
that a
County.
joke?
Is that
Yeah,
count?
it's a
It's a
joke.
count.
No. Like,
There's
what's
a place called Macon,
not
Georgia.
picking up.
Okay, go
Have you-
explain it to him, please.
What is Macon? Like, what's the
Macon.
significance of Macon?
It's
What
a
is
county.
Macon?
It sounds like Macon.
No, I know.
It's a play
but
on
like,
words.
I did. Okay, is there a Macon, Georgia?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
It's not
Again,
the most well-known
background
place
noise.
in Georgia.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone out there got it. And for you, I appreciate you.
As we're all trying to read the comments at once, that's great for an audio podcast.
That's right, that's right.
Yep.
Getting the band back together before it disbands.
I like it. I like where your head's at.
Yeah, it's going to be the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to miss a slip and slide party because I'll be in New York in June, but not July. So
Stay. Maybe you'll be on standby and you can't go home.
maybe that's going to ship me around the country.
Well, thanks for putting up with us.
Yes,
Always.
a fabulous host.
How are you guys feeling?
Weird.
Weird.
Like, I've definitely been in denial since the first conversation happened, like, several months ago, up until, like, 20 minutes ago, probably.
The movie
So
made
you
it.
came to terms
Yeah, the
with it
movie.
now.
Yeah, the movie made it, like, real. Probably, I would say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's almost serendipitous. It sounds almost too positive, but it was weird, kind of telling it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
For when anybody goes to see the movie, I think you'll be able to make the connection maybe a little bit, because to talk about it would be too much detail and stuff right now. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
a lot
save it for
happened.
the spoiler cast.
Yeah.
Spoiler cast, that's true.
Sorry.
the next
No.
spoiler cast will probably be private and not broadcast.
Yeah.
So.
I think every episode from now on is going to be private and not broadcast.
Speaking of privates, I guess, I want to thank our patrons.
Who some people were private until now, that we have not mentioned.
That's right.
Great save, thanks, Sean.
We want to thank all of our patrons from the bottom up. Thank you, Nicole, Tony, Stivix, Stephanie from Uncommon Outpost, Stanley, thank you, Southern Style DIY, thank you, Rob Clark, thank you, Michael Rodriguez, Live Free DIY, Jared, Grant, Eric, Daniel, Dan, Brandon, AJ Huff, Tinkereering, Matt, Maker on the Move, Keith Decent, James Montgomery, Mr. David, thank you, Chad from Mancrafting, Broken Antler Workshop, Sean Osteen, Scott Bond, Ross Carroll, Luis, thank you, buddy. Then we get to our top patrons. Matthew from How I Do It, Clinton from C3D Prop Shop, Square Splinter, Nolan, and Jordan, thank you guys so much. Jeeves is next in line. He eclipsed Jordan for what we thought was going to be the top spot for the top patron But we have back in our midst, always waiting in the wings, Seth Williams reclaimed the top spot for the last episode.
I think that's extremely fitting.
Yeah, it's great. Thank all of you so much. We appreciate you.
For the time being, the site will stay up and you'll be able to listen to all the past episodes. Who knows if it might evolve. At least the site itself might evolve into something else at another point. There's no promises of anything, but it's there, and who knows what the future holds.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying that it's easy to leave a website rolling and not touch it.
That's fair.
Yes. So, I guess for the last time.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. From all of us.
To all of you.
Take care.